one of the founders of BlockID. BlockID was really founded out of success. So my co-founders and I started a blockchain-based identity company. We started working on the idea in 2013. By 2017, we sold to Rivets. Rivets does the secure domain in your mobile devices. The reason I started Cyber Deadbolt was more to tie the person to their identity, not their device. So I started BlockID to go that next level down. So our team consists of the white ones, so Paul, Brad, and Ron Richards. We were the three of the co-founders of Cyber Deadbolt. The rest of the team, Richard Goodwin, Dr. Goodwin, supply chain expert in IoT. Peter Mengs, the e-commerce expert. We have two from the music industry because we have applications in the music industry. So lots of different experience in the music industry, double platinum winner, as well as the guy who started e-commerce for the older bands. He partnered with David Bowie and still manages his e-commerce and a lot of the older bands you would recognize. And the idea is identity and rights management are tied together, and you can't really do anything that's a trust platform without being really sure about identity. And the whole trust platform is about rights management. So tying those two is critical. So we combine machine learning, artificial intelligence, and use distributed ledger technology to secure those transactions. And I'll unpack that a little bit. So we're really building long-term this green layer that has APIs that can be approached by developers or other platforms to use our blockchain engine. And then we, on the other side, use APIs out to read and write from different blockchains. Because my longer talk is a slide of 15 different blockchains in 15 categories, and most of the squares are filled in with the gear icon, meaning it's in progress. So we're at a very infant stage with blockchain in terms of the different features that blockchains are going to be offering. So companies and individuals need a way to use the technology without having to understand it in depth. And then we're also building a couple of applications, particularly in the identity space. So true self-sovereign identity. So individuals will actually have control of their identity, be able to revoke information from other partners. So not only are we GDPR compliant, we actually enable people to actually be GDPR compliant. Most of the companies who now say they are, all they do is send you an email and say that you'll now let us use your information, and if you want to revoke it, contact us, which is really not compliant because the individual doesn't really have control of that information stored elsewhere. And then also in the rights management area. So we're really decentralized identity. There's no identity authenticator except me. Right? I am my own identity authenticator, and that's the core concept of our identity offering. So the individual decides what constitutes their identity, how that identity can be presented, be validated, and then how they can be authenticated in a transaction or in any kind of sensitive case. So digital identity is broken. I started a voice biometrics company in 1998, and we decided two things. One, your biometrics probably shouldn't be stored with your real identity. And two, my assumption was somebody's going to figure out digital identity. Still hasn't happened. So the whole problem is because of that, records are being taken care of not very well. And Computer World even said self-sovereign identity systems are decentralized, mirroring the way the identity works in real life. Except that if you go to Civic and these other self-sovereign, they all have somebody else who authenticates you. That's not decentralized. That's what I now call re-centralized. I used to call it de-decentralized, but my friends told me that doesn't make sense. But they're re-centralizing, they're just moving the needle of who authenticates you rather than your bank. It's now this third party. So we're around actually enabling the individual to have real control of their identity and be able to revoke that or provide that whoever and wherever they need to. So it's putting the person in the center, right? So the individual decides what data and how much of that data gets shared in with whom. The market opportunity is huge. It's about 7.6 billion people in the world, 4 billion internet users. that's enough, but active social, unique mobile users, active mobile social users, our identity is out there and it's really at risk. So we already have traction. We have 4 different areas that besides identity, that we're concentrating in. Music and entertainment. We have a partner technology company, so an artist can upload their music or video file, and it gets embedded a block ID. So that's machine readable from the file. And then when they post on a platform, when it's downloaded, another block ID is created and embedded in the file that identifies the purchaser and the rights they purchased. So for instance, if my son was a musician, if I bought one of his tracks, it's $1 for personal use, $100 for commercial. If I buy it for personal, but later I put it on a YouTube video, I'll get a bill in the mail for $99 because I used it for rights I hadn't purchased and I get billed for that. So that's in music and entertainment. So the data is actually embedded in either the music file or the video file. In forensic evidence area, it's a partner that does forensic evidence collection. They have a mobile app and they record every step in every process, the date, time, and geolocation. All of that we're ledgerizing for them. As well as there's crime scene video and crime scene audio. And with our block ID, it can prove that it was recorded at that point in time and that it was not edited later. Supply chain management, some very large scale DoD platform that now we will be the ledger side of that. And then in healthcare, around personal records, around HIPAA compliance, and then also a platform that does equipment management. So this could be a bigger slide, but these are our major go-to-market partners. Trade Harbor is my legacy company that does voice biometrics. We do hundreds of thousands of transactions a month, mostly in the health and life insurance areas. So people signing HIPAA release forms or signing insurance applications with their voice. FutureWorks Group is a supply chain, AdCommerce is e-commerce, and there's several others there. Worldwide Technology is a full stack system integrator, $8 billion company. So our business model really varies by market and application. Some people want to pay by the drink, like my other SaaS company where they pay per transaction. Some of our bigger customers, though, want to contract for volume. They don't want the bill to be different every month. They're willing to prepay at a certain stage to get a certain capacity. We do that as well. And then we have revenue share. On the e-commerce side, it's actually part of the transaction. We get paid just like credit card fees are. And then for consumer applications, the consumer can sign up for their own block ID, and then we actually monetize that with anybody who wants to authenticate them or bill them or charge them or grant them rights. And then part of that revenue goes back to the individual who's been, their identity's been used. So that's it. If you have any questions, I've got some cards and I have a booth downstairs. I'll be there most of the afternoon.
My first question, if I may.
Sure.
So if I understand correctly, you do not use government or any public organ such as a notary to confirm that the signature or electronic signature belongs to a physical person. What that means is I can have 100 identities. How can you deal with that?
Yeah, no, actually with DocuSign or with Notary, my wife and I downsized, and my wife signed 13 documents she's never seen in the sale of our house, right? And people say, well, they've got your IP address. I said, well, number one, I'm in cybersecurity, so it's not really my IP address. And number two, she has no access to my computer. Her computer has an IP address, so I can prove she did not have even a chance to sign that. So what we do is we're a platform that lets you create your own digital identity. You decide what the factors are, and it's a much longer talk. You look on YouTube, you see my identity talk, but the idea is you as an individual decide what are your identity validators, and those are dynamic. We encourage you to use dynamic. So for instance, attach your LinkedIn, your Twitter, your Facebook.
Can I have several identities?
No, only one. Because
How can you prevent it?
Because we validate your digital identity by what you connect to it, and we use machine learning and artificial intelligence.
I can connect different things to different identities.
Then you're going to be accountable for that.
Yeah, but I have 2 identities.
No, you don't. Not in our system.
You guys are gonna have to have the debate later on.
Yeah, we can talk more about that. Any other questions?
So, go ahead.
Finance space is a really big space for identity management and KYC. How come you guys chose not to go into that market?
I've been in that market for 20 years with Voice Biometrics, Trade Harbor, that core company. I'll give you an example, short example. My own bank, the VP of that bank said to me, we'd be using your service, but we really have to be sure our customers who they claim to be to enroll them in your service.
Yes.
And I said, wait a minute, I bought a house through you, I bought several cars, I bought other things through you, I have a savings account, a checking account, and you're telling me you're not really sure it's me? He goes, yeah. So we're solving the problem by giving the person control of their identity. I was on a panel at the Voice of Blockchain in Chicago, which you saw, and one of the people said, well, you don't understand because your bank is going to put all your identity information in the blockchain. I said, oh God, I hope no. I hope not. Because I'm a cybersecurity guy. All my answers to my questions are not true. I made them up. So you're going to put that in the blockchain that's immutable? It has nothing to do with me, right? That's the only security around it.
Shorter answers. Yeah.
Sure.
Do you have revenue now? And are you looking for money? And what are the terms?
We have revenue now. We've been self-funded.
You want to tell us how much?
Pardon me?
You want to tell us how much revenue?
No.
Okay. I got the answer.
It's more than 10,000, less than 10 million. How's that?
Got it.
So we're mainly working on partner engagements for large deployments. One of them is the Smart City Initiative in Dubai. We are at the table as the digital identifier for those individuals. They wanted to do self-sovereign identity, but they didn't know how. So,
How much money are you raising?
right now, so that I can hire one specific data scientist, I have is a safe note, 500,000, which guarantees him 2 years ago. And then we're looking at an A round that's going to be anywhere from potentially as low as 5, but probably more like 15 to 20 million.
All right.
When
You're
we
running
need it,
out of time.
not
Good
before
job.
we need it. Thank you.